If you're a beginner West Coast swing dancer trying to get good at West Coast swing, today Megan and I are going to share the top 10 beginner mistakes so you can fix them right here on YouTube for free so you can look good and feel confident on the dance floor. My name is Brian B.
I'm Miss Megan.
Number 1, I'm going to tell you this right off the top. Number 6 is Megan's favorite and number 10 is my favorite.
Actually, number 5 is my
favorite. Number 5. Number 5. Fair enough. All right, number 1 is that we take 2 biggest steps. 2 biggest steps is number 1. And this happens because we're thinking about our steps and we're like, dear God, we need to go back, and we have 2 biggest steps. Even as we get more comfortable, one of the things that happens with the bigger steps is we just start taking big steps because that's how we think we can express the music. But I'm going to give you some other ways with your footwork to express the music. So number 1, keep the steps small underneath you, not outside of your frame, and you will be much better at West Coast swing from the jump. Number 2, you might have been yelled at about this in your beginner class, and that is not anchor stepping properly. And let's quickly define the anchor. The anchor is not actually a foot position, although we as teachers teach that we're going to anchor behind with my right foot. It's really just the action of our bodies moving away from each other. It's not exactly a foot position, but as a beginner, this is the one I want you to anchor into your brain, pun fully intended. I want to anchor by putting my right foot behind my left. Why? Because that way my center point of balance is already back and I will start to get that stretch. But be careful that when you anchor step, this doesn't happen. 3 and 4, 5 and 6, I float forward. So make sure that you're anchor stepping as a beginner, leaders tucking your right foot back, followers tucking your left foot back. Number 3 is kind of sucky. I don't like to hear it, but bad posture. Ooh. And it's not that we have to be professional, competitive dancers with wonderful posture. It's just that physically speaking, when our heads aren't over our hips, aren't over our feet, right? When I step, my foot, my hip, and my head are all lined up. If that's not the case, I can start to move and not communicate things to my partner, right? I can do whips. We fix this all the time in whip patterns where the leader gets bad posture in here.
Or the follower gets
or the
bad
follower,
posture
and
here.
then we have to do a move, and there's no room for the move. And the solution is just literally keep your posture good. So be aware of your posture. It's going to fix a bunch of other things. Number 4 is leaders overleading. Overleading. What I mean by that is we have the tendency, if the follower doesn't do what we want, we make her do what we want. And we tend to overlead. And one of the things in my own dancing was to learn to allow the follower to do her part. So if I'm leading a whip and it doesn't feel the way I want it to, but my follower follows it, great. What happens to us is we want to feel what we want to feel, and we create it ourselves, and we start pushing and pulling, and then what happens is the follower stops listening because this lead for an inside turn is not necessary. This is all I need for an inside turn. Very subtle. If I'm doing this, what I'm actually asking Megan to do is cartwheel to the right and cartwheel to the left. She's obviously not going to do that. So she starts to ignore all of the stuff I'm doing with my arm. So leaders do not overlead, which comes to number 5, followers. I'm not leaving you out of this. Number 5, Miss Megan.
Do not anticipate.
Explain what that means.
So, actually, we want to anticipate, but we need to not act too soon. So essentially, we need to stay connected to our partner and feel the move that they're going to lead. Say he's going to lead a whip. I need to feel it, and I need to turn myself, but I need to wait and see if they're going to lead something else out of it, or if it's just going to be a regular whip.
So what Megan said was actually pretty brilliant. You want to anticipate. Know that a sugar push is possible. Know that a turn is possible. Know that a whip is possible, but wait until the last possible second. If the leader doesn't lead you, okay, great, finish the pattern for him. I did not lead Megan. So you want to not anticipate, but if the leader does lead you, give him an opportunity. That's number 5. Number 6 kind of comes into 4 and 5, and that's too much or too little tension. Really good drill. Grab your partner, 2 hands. create an away connection. I don't care what your body's doing at this point. I'm leaning away just for the sake of getting the feeling, and then lean towards. If you can do this and change connections, and now you notice we're doing it more subtly, and I can leave Megan there and leave her there and leave her there and leave her there, same thing, come back up, then I have the right amount of tension. If I start to push and pull, right, I pull Megan towards me, and then you can see that it won't work. Emily's eyes behind the camera. I literally saw your eyeballs come up behind the camera, right? So I want to, a good test, 2 hands, can I go in and out without much fuss? And then could I drop my weight down, and could I pull back up and have a change? That will tell you that you have a good amount of tension, not too much, not too little. Number 7 is, kind of goes back to number 1, dancing flat-footed. And that's because no one told you that your foot wasn't flat on the bottom. And I'm here to tell you.
Some people's feet are flat.
We're not going down that road, high arches and all that stuff. But as the leader or follower, we want to roll through our feet. It's not a step back plunk on the left foot. I'm actually rolling from the ball of my foot to the heel, from the ball of my foot to the heel as I'm going backwards, and Megan coming forwards, or leaders coming forwards. You can explain.
For right now, we're going to go heel to toe. So heel rolling all the way to the toe, heel all the way to the toe, or toe to heel, toe to heel.
The idea is that when you're taking a step, if I could put my back to you and I'm taking a side step, I'm not plunking on the side step. I'm rolling maybe from the inside to the flat foot, inside to the flat foot. And you can see as I move around, it starts to create rhythms in my body. So there's no exact perfect way to do it, but just try not to dance
through your feet.
Flat-footed. This is what the beginner looks like, flat-footed. And we are correct, but it's very flat-footed as opposed to rolling through my feet where all of a sudden it starts to look like I have style and I look much less like a beginner. Number 8, and this is, number 10 is my favorite, but number 8 is not knowing your basic patterns. People come out of beginner class all the time generally knowing them, but if I put the music on and I say, dance a push, pass, and a whip, and here's a good litmus test. If I could dance a push, a pass, and a whip with music on. If you cannot do this by yourself without music, you're doing yourself a disservice. If you can dance a push, pass, and a whip with no partner to music, you've learned how to move your own body. How far can I step? And by the way, this is going to fix number 1. Your steps are going to end up much smaller, especially as the followers, because what happens is the followers, there you go, Megan, I didn't lead that. That was a whip in my brain, but I didn't.
I'm sorry.
Clearly communicate that.
It's okay, I wasn't really watching you.
What happens, especially as the followers, you get tuned into this, and then you're not moving, and you're letting me pull you through the steps, and you lose the ability. So number 8 is to dance the basic patterns by yourself, push, pass, and whip. Number 9 is Megan's contribution, the elbow. Let's talk about the elbow.
Yes, so when you're doing a pass or a turn, if this elbow goes up, you can go the wrong way. You can not feel where the leader is going to take you, and you can do your own thing, which is a no-no right now. So we want to make sure that this elbow stays tucked in, kind of like a Barbie, all right? So that the leader can go over your head, and you can tell which direction you need to go in a pass or a turn.
And just to demonstrate, can you do our little drill here? So this is the little drill. If you keep that down, it will force your elbow to stay down, but I can still lead all the basic patterns with that elbow staying down. That makes sense? So elbow staying down, that's a really cool tip, high level. Number 10 is my favorite, and that is memorizing moves versus learning principles. So when we travel and teach, I often like to share that in a group class scenario, leaders and followers should think of things differently. Obviously, we learn the basic patterns. As soon as we know the basic patterns, leaders, you need to hunt for the principles. What I mean by the principle is, I said it earlier, the anchor step is we will teach this foot to be tucked behind. But the principle is just that my center is pulled away. I don't even have to be on the exact correct foot. The principle is that my center is pulled away even if I were to be on the wrong foot. The principle of leading, I need to step back. it actually doesn't matter if I step back on the wrong foot. The principle, Megan doesn't feel the difference. It's a lot of work for me to dance on the wrong foot. But the principles, I went back to the correct foot, of the patterns is what you should hunt for in your group classes, especially when you move to intermediate. You want to understand the principle of the whip, of when I need to be away, when the follower needs to be connected, how the leader leads it across. More than the exact footwork or the exact pattern, you want to start to hunt for the principles of the dance you're learning, especially West Coast Swing, not just the patterns. And speaking of cool things that will help you, we have a free resources tab right here that has all of our best free resources. One of the things I think would be super helpful for you is a West Coast Swing ebook, but you can hunt that free list. There's everything from music, pattern tree charts, super helpful stuff, but grab that ebook right there. And number 2 is a video we did, 7 things that your dance teacher wants to tell you, but won't. So we put it on YouTube videos because we don't want to tell our students to their face. It's all the real talk from dance teachers, and you can watch it right here.